Hello there, my name's Greg Harradine, I'm a composer, and in this edition of Good Art, Bad Art, I will discuss the Mars Volta's brand new album, Lucro Sucio, Los Ojos del Vacío, which is out today, April 11th. Yes, Friday, April 11th. I've listened to it twice. I'll share my thoughts on it. Well, the first time I listened to it was with my young daughter at 5:30 a.m. She gets up early, I'm afraid, these days. She's only one. So we listened to it together at 5:30, and then once the kids are off for the day, now I've listened again just now. What do I think? Well, to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed. Now, I don't mean to say it's terrible. It's not at all. It's quite good, really. But I just hold the Mars Volta up on such a pedestal that I always expect great things from a new album. And this is their 9th studio album. You know, they've been around for a while now, over 20 years. And I've been with them from the beginning. I used to love I still do love At the Drive-In. And I remember when Deloused in the Comatorium came out. And for my money, I do still think that Deloused and Francis the Mute are their best two albums. I love nearly all their albums. Well, I do love all their albums, but those two, for me, are the pinnacle of what they're capable of. And now this album, Lucro Sucio, forgive my poor Spanish pronunciation, by the way, this album, it's just a bit of a downer in most part. Most of the songs are quite downbeat or sort of mid-tempo. To me, it often lacks energy. I spent about 5 or 10 minutes just looking online to see what other Mars Volta fans think of it. A lot of people seem to like it, but also some say, well, one person said, which I thought was right, it's the least dynamic of their albums, which I agree with. It's all a bit homogenous. Yeah, the songs, there are 18 songs. I thought, wow, 18 tracks? That's a bit unusual for the Mars Volta. But to be honest, they nearly all segue one into the next. I think there are only 2 moments of silence where one track ends, pause, another one begins. Mostly it's all segue. And it almost feels arbitrary. Like sometimes one song goes into the next song and they're kind of the same song, right? It really feels more like the album has been through composed. Maybe it's made up of a couple of movements rather than 18 songs. It's not really 18 songs. But they're not all the same, but there is a similar vibe. I feel like this album, it's not meant to excite you and thrill you in the kind of Latin prog rock way that we might expect from Mars Volta of the past. It's more like sit down, listen carefully, and you might get a lot out of it. One of my main gripes is there aren't many moments where the individual musicians really shine. Now, there are some, yeah? But what I mean is, there aren't many moments where you listen to Omar's guitar work and you're blown away by this incredible guitar work. Few moments where you're blown away by the drums. Few moments where you're blown away by the bass. Whereas every track on Francis the Mute or Deloused, you're just constantly blown away by the musicianship. Not so many moments like that on this album at all. Lots more synths, which for me I'm not a huge fan of necessarily. But the standout track for me is Cue the Sun. I think that's a great track. A good bass line, kind of sinister feeling. I listened to it and I thought, oh, it could be longer. Then it goes into the next track and it just really is a continuation of Cue the Sun. The next track, track 7, Alba del Orate. I tried to look up some of the meanings of these Spanish song titles. The internet told me that Alba del Orate means sea bream at dawn, which I can't imagine. Well, I mean, maybe they did call their song Sea Bream at Dawn, but if you know a better translation, please let me know what that song title means. By the way, the album title, Lucro Sucio, well, Lucro Sucio means dirty money, filthy lucre, if you like, and Los Ojos del Vacío means something like the eyes of emptiness or the eyes of the void, something like that. Interesting that most of the song titles are in Spanish, but most of the lyrics are actually in English. Wonder why. So yeah, standout track for me is Cue the Sun. Near the end of the album, there's track 17, Cue the Sun reprise, but it actually doesn't feature really any of the music of Cue the Sun. It's very strange. Yeah, so I don't know why they called track 17 Cue the Sun reprise. It's nothing like Cue the Sun. Yes, there's a lyric in one of the tracks. It's in track 10, and the lyric is, the devil's wearing ermine, or as Cedric pronounces it, ermine, I think, or ermine. Anyway, the devil's wearing ermine. That to me sums up the feel of this album. It's like, you're wearing ermine, you're wearing a fur coat. It's sort of smothering the devilishness, right? The devilish energy of a lot of their previous albums, right? Sort of being a bit held back, a bit smothered, toned down. The devil's wearing ermine. Yeah, and for me, that's not a good thing. Now, I'm not saying they need to keep repeating their first few albums and stick to that. I hate it when people just say, oh yeah, they should just, I hate it, bands should just do what they did with their first few albums, keep repeating that because that's what we fans want. I'm against that. I think bands should do whatever the hell they like, right? Obviously, Omar and Cedric wanted to write an album like this, and good for them. And I can imagine possibly when I start sitting down more and listening to it, maybe it will grow on me. I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. And obviously they have been moving in a certain direction with their self-titled album. That was a bit more shorter song lengths, bit more pop. I hate to use the word pop, but less progressive. And this album is also less progressive, I would say. And I'm nothing against their slower songs. Some of the best slower songs like The Widow or Televators are incredible, some of my favourite songs, but there just lacks a bit of energy on this album, I would say, unfortunately for me. But there are moments of great songwriting, moments where the instruments sort of do shine through, some great saxophone work from time to time, reminds me of John Zorn a bit. And some beautiful moments where there's just synths and Cedric's vocals. At the start, the first track, Fin, which means end, funny to start with a track called End, it's almost beatific. It's kind of like a beautiful moment. First four notes of it, by the way, are the first four notes of Oh When the Saints, to use a rather prosaic reference there. By the way, if you've enjoyed this, check out my thoughts on Francis the Mute. Yeah, that was the fourth album I looked at on this channel. I'll leave a link at the end. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what I should discuss next. I've been Greg Harradine. Goodbye.